The courtroom didn't expect this witness, but the internet did, because the streets always know who's walking in before the judge even adjusts the mic. This wasn't just a testimony, this was a temperature drop. The kind that makes lawyers blink, fans refresh pages, and the jury collectively forget to breathe for a second. When the doors opened and the witness stepped forward, the entire room shifted like someone flipped a breaker on reality itself. Yella wasn't in the frame yet, but his name already hovered over the crowd like smoke that refuses to pick a shape. Fans are shocked, and you could feel it in the pacing. Not the yelling kind of shock, the pause and zoom kind. The kind where every camera looks up from its tripod like it's suddenly part of the investigation too. Yella went pale, not metaphorically, not figuratively, physically. Like someone whispered a fact into his bloodstream instead of his ear. The judge didn't call for silence. The silence volunteered. That's how heavy the moment was. When a witness carries the energy of unfiled truth, the room goes quiet like paperwork hasn't been stamped yet, but the verdict is already walking around the courthouse looking for a seat. This wasn't just another rap-adjacent hearing. This was a ripple that started backstage, ignored warnings, family tension, unclaimed narratives, loyalty tests that weren't studied, just felt. Emotions ran high long before this, but now the stakes weren't emotional anymore. They were atmospheric. Atmospheric tension spreads faster than confirmed headlines because it doesn't need proof to trend, it just needs gravity. And this gravity looked at Yella dead center like a camera lens that doesn't flinch. Pay attention. Because the internet isn't asking who's right anymore, it's asking who knew first and why the room looks nervous around the answer. The courtroom didn't expect the witness, but the internet expected the moment. Because tension had already been brewing around Yella name long before any judge entered the frame. This story didn't begin in a courthouse. It began in a culture where whispers travel faster than subpoenas, and reputations rise or fall in comment sections long before legal confirmations ever arrive. Yella wasn't always the guy associated with courtroom tension. To most fans, he was the face of charisma mixed with street-level swagger, a rapper who carried himself like someone who knew how to balance pressure and spotlight without breaking eye contact. But pressure has different shades, and spotlight can't bleach all of them clean. The internet didn't hate him, it was curious about him. Curiosity doesn't need proof, it needs patterns, and patterns were stacking. Early rumors began circulating under YouTube videos, Twitter threads, and IG comment wars, but the rumors weren't about a crime. They were about access. Who talks to who knows who. Who avoided whose name when questions got heavy. In rap gossip, avoidance isn't innocence or guilt, it's data for doubt. And doubt is a currency the internet trades like futures on an unpredictable market. One of the earliest resurfaced clips from an IG live showed a fan asking Yella, "Why you always brush past certain names like they're hot coals?" Yella laughed it off at the time, saying, "I don't carry every story into daylight." But is where viewers realized daylight isn't where the story started. It started in the backrooms where alliances are spoken, not streamed. The internet began stitching these moments into compilations. Fan edits, slow zooms, dramatic captions, reels where lawyers weren't characters yet. The characters were the streets, the fans, the families, and the absences in conversations that suddenly felt intentional. Another rumor spike happened when a fan resurfaced a 2021 interview where Yella said, "The people who talk the loudest don't know the most." At the time, it sounded like a quotable. Today, it sounded like a shield for silence. Shields trend when viewers feel something is being guarded even if nobody names what it is. And then came the emotional stakes. Because stories without emotional entry points don't trend long enough to rank. Introduces Yella's personal stakes, not legal ones, the stakes that humanize the legend but complicate the narrative, his mother, his block, his city, his career alliances, his ignored warnings. Yella's mom wasn't on social media much, which made every rare appearance feel heavier when fans dragged her old 2022 comment into the spotlight where she once said under a fan post, "My son carries pressure you don't post for entertainment." That line was clipped everywhere. Not because it confirmed anything, but because it framed Yella as someone whose story is bigger than his own mic time. And family framing in rap gossip hits like a closing argument even before the argument opens. And now, enter Durk fans, not because Durk is accused, but because Durk fans are the loudest defense choir online. So when they went quiet under a Vaughn-adjacent story earlier this year, the internet began expecting every big loyalty divergence to carry that same mood. And introduces the first conflict spark between fan camps. Yella always honored Mothri but never let his name inherit the spotlight alone, one fan tweeted. You don't inherit someone else's spotlight, you earn your own, a Dirk fan replied under the tweet. Earning isn't the question, guarding is, a neutral fan responded. Neutral responses trend harder because they feel like verdicts without naming judges. And then came Asian Doll's name, not attached to a romance this time, but to a narrative class. The class of people who react to pressure early because they sat close enough to feel the air shift before the internet smelled the smoke. One fan posted, Asian Doll reacts early, historians react loud, moms react final. That line trended harder than any allegation could because it assigned roles, not guilt. Roles are safe to discuss. Guilt isn't needed for virality, roles are algorithm-friendly. And by reframing the stakes again, tightening the corridor of curiosity, this wasn't just another rapper dragged into court tension. This was a story vacuum forming around someone who never wanted to speak first about everything publicly. And in rap gossip, the person who doesn't speak first becomes the person everyone keeps watching. Because legends don't always roar to trend, sometimes they go pale. And when they go pale in a courthouse, the internet starts treating the moment like it might be of a story that nobody files officially but everyone watches religiously. The second the internet realized this story wasn't fading, it shifted from curious to locked-in obsessive. Fans are shocked not because something was confirmed but because the narrative suddenly felt like it had a pulse and a direction. Direction Dosen is more addictive than confirmation in rap gossip. Confirmation ends stories. Direction keeps them breathing, and this story was breathing heavy now. The internet started treating Yella's pale moment like a pre-tremor, and pre-tremors always bring bigger earthquakes in rap culture. The comment sections weren't asking for receipts anymore, they were asking for tone alignment. Tone alignment means you believe the story without needing a signed affidavit. Belief spreads faster than fact sheets. Under a Say Cheese style fan reel, one comment jumped out and started trending in screenshots everywhere. Yella didn't fold, but his silence left space for ghosts to write doubt. Ghosts meaning past narratives, past voices, past absences. Not supernatural claims, just metaphor pressure. Metaphor pressure trends legally safe and emotionally explosive. Dirk fans finally broke their silence, not to counter the warning but to defend the strategy of silence itself. One Dirk defender typed under a viral tweet, "Silence isn't guilt, it's brand discipline." Brand discipline is industry language, but the streets heard it different. Discipline in rap gossip always sounds like someone trying to control the timeline, not correct it. Controlling timelines is suspicious coded, not crime coded. Suspicious coding trends better because it doesn't summon defamation issues, it summons curiosity. Curiosity summons clicks. Clicks summon recommendation waves. And recommendation waves summon fresh audiences who weren't even part of the 2023 timeline but want to binge it now like a late-night Netflix drop. Another Vaughn fan jumped in, replying with heat that felt like distract dialogue without a beat playing. Brand discipline works until legacy demands voice, the fan wrote. Voices don't scale like brands, a Dirk fan fired back. Legacy doesn't scale, it detonates, another neutral fan counter-replied. Detonation metaphors trend without legal danger, because detonation is narrative pressure, not confirmed criminality. And then the first dramatic twist actually leaked, not the detail but the impact of the detail. The internet always loves impact more than source because source needs verification. Impact needs emotion. Emotion needs no verification. A clip resurfaced from 2022 where Yella said on live, "Pressure makes you numb before it makes you loud." The crowd thought it was rap philosophy then, today it felt like foreshadowing. Foreshadowing makes fans feel smart retroactively. Retroactive intelligence makes them stay longer on videos to prove they saw it early too, and that's when the narrative detonated into fan warfare, not violent warfare. Comment section warfare. The family was left divided, one Twitter thread began, screenshotting a supposed phone call between affiliates that got leaked through a fan page. The dialogue in the screenshot said, "If moms speak now, someone else owes a verse of truth." Verses of truth ain't released until leverage is secured, another replied. Leverage expires when legends die, a third comment concluded, again not confirmed facts. Culture facts? Culture facts trend harder because they sound like insider lane, not lawsuit lane. And then came the second twist that pushed audiences into deeper seats. A burner IG account allegedly posted a cryptic video of an empty chair in a dim studio corner with a caption that said, "History watches who avoids the seat." The video vanished 10 minutes later. But vanish timing makes rumors feel intentional. Intentional vanish timing is algorithm catnip. Catnip gets sniffed. Sniffed stories get shared, shared stories trend, and trending pulls new viewers who want the backstory because made them feel like they missed the opening trial they never attended. Yella's fanbase wasn't just defending him now, they were defending his complexion shift, saying he looked pale because the room was cold, not because the witness was hot. But Dirk fans didn't accept the framing, not angrily, carefully. Carefully is algorithm glue, glue keeps retention. Retention keeps ranking, ranking keeps viral lift, and the internet was lifting this like it was oxygen for a story that didn't roar, it whispered. And whispers trend longest when the culture feels like it overheard something that wasn't meant for it, but was delivered to it anyway. The story wasn't trending, it was stalking timelines. Fans are shocked because this was no longer gossip you watch, this was gossip you stand inside, like an audience that accidentally became part of the scene. The atmosphere flipped first, it always flips first. The crowd realized this was bigger than one pale face in one courtroom. This was a culture calibration moment where everyone suddenly starts rereading old lives, old lyrics, old absences like they were clues, not captions. The internet began screenshotting emotional reactions from Vaughn's family circles, stitching them into fan reels like evidence boards without judges. One of the most viral comment screenshots came from Vaughn's cousin allegedly saying under a post, "When a witness walks in and a legend can't speak back, the room splits before the facts do." That line hit because it didn't accuse anyone, it diagnosed the mood. Mood diagnoses are safer than crime claims and twice as viral. Dirk fans were still defending silence is where family voices began defending memory, not strategy. That's where the tremor turned personal. Personal tremors trend harder because the audience feels like it's witnessing a bloodline versus brandline collision. And collisions are shareable. Shareable is viral. Viral is oxygen. Then came the first dialogue confrontation leak, not confirmed, but felt, allegedly from a fan page that posted a transcript of a phone call between affiliates. The transcript read like this: "You can redirect interviews, but you can't redirect inheritance," one voice said. "Inheritance doesn't need microphones, it needs proximity," another replied. Proximity was questioned, not confirmed, a third cut in. Cut-ins like this trend because they sound like IG live pacing. Real-time conversations with no time to breathe, no time to polish, only time to land doubt and seed suspense. And suspense seeds don't need confirmation to trend. And then came the second dramatic twist that hit like plot lightning. A fan-claimed witness clip allegedly resurfaced from a private Chicago studio session, shaky audio, blurred faces, low lighting, where someone asked Yella directly, "If the seat was empty, why didn't you sit?" Yella allegedly replied, "Seats aren't sat in. They're assigned." The internet clipped that line and debated it like scripture. Scripture without confirmation trends safest. Another clip resurfaced allegedly from a 2023 interview where Dirk said, "I don't speak on pressure, I outlast it," but is where fans counterframed it in comment screenshots saying, "Pressure outlasted Yella's color, not his reputation." Color metaphors trend without medical danger. Reputation metaphors trend without defamation danger. But together, they trend like wildfire in a closed room, and that wildfire became visual again. The internet began using ant swarm imagery in fan edits. Not literal infestation, metaphorical infiltration. One fan reel showed ants crawling over a redacted document wall with the caption, "Pressure finds cracks faster than lawyers find clauses." That visual trend exploded because visuals don't need affidavits to trend. They need symbolic resonance. Resonance keeps retention. Retention keeps recommendation waves. Waves keep new viewers, and new viewers keep the story alive longer than any official affidavit could. And that's when the audience began forming the family interference arc. Not legal interference, emotional intervention. Emotional intervention is monetization safe and narrative combustible. One fan screenshot captured Vaughn's sister allegedly saying in a leaked voice note, "The internet doesn't kill legacies, it hijacks them when the seat is empty. Empty seats trend hardest. Empty seats with ant swarms trend even harder, but the third twist was the sharpest. The internet realized Yella wasn't pale because of the witness, he was pale because the story suddenly felt too close, too loaded, too unassigned. And unassigned narratives trend longest because they feel like puzzles without owners. And puzzles without owners always summon new detectives in comment courts. And comment courts are where verdicts trend without judges speaking out loud, and where every viral rap mystery thrives. Not in a confirmation, but in a room full of people who suddenly look like they heard something heavy at the same time but refuse to speak first publicly. And refusing to speak first doesn't kill tension, it multiplies it. The internet reached peak tension, the point where even the loudest comment warriors start speaking in slowed down conviction, like they're reading between heartbeats instead of sentences. Fans are shocked because this story had officially entered the no-scroll zone. The no-scroll zone is where gossip stops being entertainment and starts feeling like a cultural cross-examination you can't mute, delete, or avoid. And that's where Yella Beezy's pale moment began echoing differently. Dirk fans were still defending silence, but now silence had competition, family frequency. Family frequency isn't loud, it's rare, it drops in pulses. And the internet respects pulses more than press releases. A fan page clip allegedly surfaced showing Yella backstage before the hearing, rubbing his temples like someone checking for invisible pressure points. The caption under the reel read, "Pressure speaks in complexion before conversation. Complexion talk is gossip safe. Pressure talk is gossip safe. Complexion plus pressure together? Viral catnip." Fans replayed the clip obsessively, zooming into his expression like it contained more truth than his words ever did. It was no longer about what Yella said, it was about what he couldn't hide physically. You can redact a document, you can't redact a face. And faces trend when they flinch under invisible gravity. Another fan screenshot captured a neutral voice typing under a thread. "When a witness steps forward, the block steps backward into memory. Memory doesn't need receipts, it needs resonance." And resonance was hitting. The story tightened around Dirk's absence in the narrative again, not a crime absence, a narrative seat absence. The internet always tracks who's missing from the room faster than who's inside it. And then came the third dramatic twist, emotional, cinematic, metaphor-charged, and fully shareable. A fan edit went viral showing a swarm of ants crawling up a courtroom corkboard, red strings tangled between papers, the word inheritance scribbled and blurred behind it. The caption said, "When the story cracks, even the walls start crawling." Ants aren't accusations, ants are atmosphere, atmosphere trends longest. Fans began treating the courtroom itself like a character. The judge, the witness, Yella. The empty seats, the families, the fan bases, the ants, the red strings, the unspoken corridors of doubt. Everyone's choosing sides, but nobody's choosing seats officially. And officially chosen seats end stories. Unofficial empty seats multiply them. Multiplied. An old 2023 Dirk interview resurfaced allegedly where he said, "Legacy doesn't echo where the story is crowded." The internet twisted that into comment scripture saying, "Echoes die where seats aren't claimed publicly. Publicly claimed seats bring liability. Liability ends virality. Liability isn't needed here, doubt is, and doubt was trending." Yella's fanbase started clashing under reels. "He's pale because pressure, not because proof," one fan typed. "Proof ain't dropped yet, pressure already did," another fired back. "Moms speak to stop inheritance theft, not to start it," a neutral voice concluded. Neutral voices trend hardest because they sound like verdicts without judges. And then came the temporary calm illusion, the kind that makes viewers feel like resolution is near, but near resolutions trend when they're fake temporary, not final. Yella allegedly exhaled under a fan-caught mic test saying, "Legacy seats aren't loud, they're earned quietly or fought loudly later," and that's where froze. Earned quietly equals Dirk fans framing fought loudly equals Vaughn fans framing moms speak final equals family framing pale faces, flinch equals tension. Framing ants crawl equals atmosphere framing, nothing confirmed equals safety framing, everything believed equals virality framing, and belief outruns confirmation every time. Because confirmation ends mysteries. Belief makes you hit replay again, stare at the chair again, decode the face again, and watch the walls for the next crawling clue. And that crawling clue didn't accuse anyone legally. It assigned tension narratively. And narrative tension is the safest and loudest viral language rap gossip can speak. So now you've seen it. Not a headline, not a rumor screenshot, not a meme, a moment. A courtroom that shifted, a witness that changed the temperature, and a rapper whose face told a story before his mouth ever did. Fans are shocked because nothing was officially said, yet everything felt exposed. Emotions ran high, the family was left divided, and the internet hasn't decided whether this was the beginning of the truth or the warning before it. But here's where you come in. Don't just watch this like background noise. Drop down in the comments and tell us what you think really happened in that room. Did the witness know more than they let on? Did Yella go pale because of pressure, history, or something the public hasn't heard yet? And where do you stand with the streets reading body language, the fans demanding answers, or the ones saying silence is still strategy? This is the part of the story the algorithm can't decide for us. The people do. If this video kept you locked in, if you felt that tension build instead of scrolling away, hit that like button right now. It tells the platform this isn't just gossip, it's a conversation worth pushing. Subscribe if you want more stories where rap culture, courtroom drama, and real-time internet reactions collide without filters. And share this video with someone who always says, "Nah, something about that don't feel right." Because those are the people who understand these stories never end when the judge leaves the room. Stay tapped in, stay watching, and remember, in rap culture the loudest answers don't always come from the mic. Sometimes they come from the face and the silence right after.